Last time we talked about the secret plan of Tom and Kruger. After the video, you all gave me a lot of incredible feedback and also a lot of great questions. So in this video, I'm going to address the most frequently asked questions and much more. If you haven't already watched my previous video, I seriously recommend you to do it now, because this video will add to the previous one to create a much clearer and wider view of the entire timeline. Today, I will solve some points that I, personally, did not explain correctly last time. And also, I will answer the question, why did Kruger save only Grisha and none of his fellow friends, or his royal blood wife, which should have been priceless? And spoiler, there is a very good reason why he didn't do it. By the end of this video, I will show you how everything that happened since the beginning of the story is directly connected to Grisha Jaeger. And, like always, I bring proof. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button if you appreciate the Attack on Titan content on my channel. And of course, this video will contain major spoilers and possible future spoilers if this is correct, so please continue at your own risk. And watch the previous video. Last time we talked about how Tom lost his family and then returned to Liberio and then started to work with Kruger. Today, I wanted to offer an even darker idea behind it. In the year 819, Kruger inherits the Attack Titan. Now, it is time for him to start his plan, and he needs Tom's help. Because Kruger is Marleyan, he needs someone on the inside to directly contact the Eldian restorationists. Now, here is just a dark idea. What if Kruger killed Tom's family, or at least arranged for them to be killed? Why? Because he knew that they are the only thing that is keeping Tom from Liberio. Kruger is now 27 years old, and by now he killed plenty of Eldians, so I don't think it would be a problem for him to kill one more Marleyan woman and her child. This is also very suitable to the Attack on Titan atmosphere, and I thought this is something worth mentioning. Somewhere between the years 819 and 824, Tom returns from Liberio to keep an eye on Grisha. That is why we see him with Grisha in this panel. And also, he may also be the person who directed Grisha into getting into medicine. But Tom didn't only keep an eye on Grisha, he was also the contact between Kruger, the owl, and the Eldian restorationists. That makes sense, because if you think about it, how did Kruger find them and also manage to contact them? He needed someone from the inside, someone that everybody trusts, a doctor, for example. And that is the reason he later tells Grisha that doctors make good spies, because Tom wasn't spying on Marley, he was actually spying on Grisha and the other restorationists, and passing information to Kruger. That also makes sense because Kruger was already undercover in Marley, so he knew all about Marley's plan, but he needed someone on the other side. Now let's address my idea about Kruger turning in the restorationist himself. If Kruger was really interested in the revolution, he would have done everything in his power to warn the rebels and to make them change location. He would also give them more help, make them know that the Attack Titan is on their side, or at least something, but he didn't. Instead, he and Tom had enough time to coach Zeke to inform on his parents. That shows us that Kruger and Tom were only interested in two things: Grisha and Zeke. You can see it once more on top of the walls of Paradise, where Kruger could have easily saved the entire restorationists, or at least some of them, along with Dina Fritz. He could have then told them that they should start a revolution to restore Eldia from the inside of the walls. He could have done a lot of things, but he didn't. And I promise you that not only he didn't intend of saving anyone else, he actually wanted everyone there to be killed. Everyone but Grisha. We will get back to this exact moment, so remember this because this is extremely important. Next, I suggested that one of their plans was to transfer as many Titans as possible to Paradise, away from Marley. To that, I want to add another important thing. There is also a possibility they wanted to unite the Attack and Founding Titans because of their unique joint ability to reach any memory sequence they choose. I can only imagine that Kruger has also saw something like Eren did in the scenery panel. Maybe it was the same thing, maybe something different, but for Kruger it doesn't matter. As long as he is a former Titan shifter, he will also be able to reach that moment if the Attack Titan and the Founding Titan will be united by the time Zeke arrives on the island and the plan will come into effect. The second part of their plan that I didn't talk about was removing every royal blood member on the island, and also outside of it. That is actually the reason why Grisha was sent to steal the Founding Titan. Kruger and Tom knew that if someone without royal blood will get the power, he won't be able to use it, and therefore he will only be a vessel holding the power, and perfect for whenever Zeke will arrive. What they couldn't take into consideration was Historia, that was born outside of the royal family. But besides Historia, and without any other royal blood members around, Paradise Island would have been perfect for future invasion, because the rumbling cannot be activated as long as there are no other royal blood members around. I also talked about the possibility that Tom and Kruger were behind the creation of the warrior program, and also were responsible for the decision to use kids. But why use kids? Kruger and Tom knew that when the time comes, Zeke will need to contact the holder of the Founding Titan, so they decided to use kids because they are more likely to follow blindly a responsible adult figure that they look up to. And indeed, as time went by, Zeke inherited his Titan and became the oldest Titan shifter on Marley, and also the war chief. The plan was that in the worst case scenario, one of the other warriors will eat the holder of the Founding Titan, someone that trusts Zeke completely, and someone who Zeke can manipulate much more easily. And kids that just wanted to prove themselves were just perfect for this position. Now let's go back to the day on top of the walls of Paradise. Why did Kruger never really intended to save Dina? For the same reason he and Tom didn't want any other royal blood users on the island, so that Grisha would only be the vessel and would not be able to really use the power of the Founding Titan. And even worse, Grisha and Dina could have had another kid on the island, and that would be unacceptable for the plans of Kruger and Tom. And that is the true reason of why Kruger let Dina die, to make Zeke the one and only key in the world that can unlock the power of the Founding Titan years later. So yes, Dina had to go. So why not save some of the other restorationists? Simple, because Kruger lied to Grisha. He didn't want him to fight for Eldia. If he did, he would have given him some sort of direction, like telling him to start a rebellion on Paradise or do something to advance Eldia. But instead, he only told him to infiltrate the walls, find the Founding Titan and take it away from the royal family, and then settle down and start a family. I guess by now, Kruger also knew that Grisha will destroy the entire royal family. And we can assume that because we see he is synced with Grisha's memories when he uses the famous "Save Mikasa and Armin" sentence. So because all that, Kruger wanted Grisha to be completely alone there, with no other friends to start a revolution. He wanted Grisha to take the founder and to remain dormant until the arrival of Zeke. But another thing Kruger couldn't anticipate was Dina Fritz Titan coming into play and actually activating the coordinates for the first time, and by that letting out the big secret and true power that was inside young Eren Yeager. That clearly shouldn't have happened and wasn't part of the plan. And now, let me prove to you that all of our story has begun because of Grisha Yeager. Are you ready for this? Our story starts in the year 845, which was also the year that Rainer, Berthold, Annie, and Marcel were sent to the island. Armin once questioned, why is everything happening right now? And the real reason is that the 13 years term of Grisha's Curse of Ymir was coming to an end. Let me explain. On that day, on top of the wall of Paradise, Grisha got the Attack Titan from Kruger. That was in the year 832, which, as you can see, is exactly 13 years before Shiganshina was invaded. That means that the entire story started exactly 13 years after Grisha got his Titan and mission. I mean, this is far too precise to be a coincidence, don't you think? My guess is that as a Titan shifter gets older, his Titan power gets stronger, and this is the reason why their bodies fail, because the power is taking too much toll on their bodies. Think of it as a parasite that feeds on the host's body and gets stronger as the host gets weaker. That is also the reason I think is why Frida couldn't defeat Grisha even when she had the founding Titan, because she was a new Titan shifter and her Titan wasn't that strong. That is only my guess. But if Grisha tried to take the Titan years ago from Uri race, there might be a chance that he would have been too weak to win, and also a chance that Kenny the Reaper would have hunted him down. In conclusion, Tom and Kruger wanted to unite the Founding Titan and the Attack Titan in a non-royal blood vessel that will keep the power dormant enough time for Zeke to be ready for his job. Then, to make sure all royal blood users are killed to prevent the case of a future contact with a royal blood user, and also preventing any royal blood child to ever be born on Paradise and also on Marley. Then, to let a non-royal blood user inherit the founder and to become a vessel that cannot activate the founder's true power. And finally, to send Zeke to act as the key and to unleash the true power of the coordinates. Like you see, the dates match. The invasion to Paradise happened exactly 13 years after Grisha got his Titan, and that is a huge detail to consider. And I absolutely feel it makes my theory to be much more possible. And I would also want to take a moment and give a little shout out to Spoontick for always asking me the right questions that make me dig even deeper and find better answers. And it was our discussion in Discord about Dina that made me do the extra checking. So really, thank you for that. I love a good Attack on Titan discussion. And of course, every one of you are more than welcome to talk to me and to each other on my Discord server or on any of my other social media accounts. But now, it's your turn. Tell me if I convinced you yet. Tell me if you think Kruger had something to do with the death of Tom's family. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos like that, and of course, check out my previous video if you haven't already. I will see all of you next time, and until then, don't forget to dedicate your hearts for humanity inside and outside the walls.